So let's talk about a problem that gets so many founders completely stuck, that endless, paralyzing search for clarity. We're going to show you how to find it, but not by thinking harder, by actually doing more. Does this sound a little too familiar? You've got a goal, maybe a business you're trying to grow, or a skill you need to build, but you just find yourself drowning in information. You're constantly comparing strategies, reading article after article, and somehow you feel even more confused than when you started. Yeah, there's actually a name for this. It's called the research loop. It's this super frustrating cycle where it feels like you're making progress, because you're learning, but really, you're just spinning your wheels. And real action? That gets pushed further and further down the road while you wait for some perfect moment of insight that, let's be honest, never really shows up. So why do we get trapped in this loop? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental misunderstanding of how you get clarity in the first place. We call it the planning fallacy. And believe me, it is one high-cost distraction. The common assumption, the thing we all tend to do, is believe that if we just think hard enough, if we can just map out every single possibility in our heads, the perfect path is just going to magically reveal itself. We're trying to solve a very real-world problem completely inside our own minds. Okay, this is where we flip the entire script. See, we assume we need to have clarity before we can take action. But the reality, and all the evidence points to this, is the exact opposite. Action creates clarity. This isn't just a small tweak in your thinking. It's a completely different way to operate. And these right here, these are the common traps. I mean, they feel so productive, don't they? Analyzing, reading, planning. But so often, they're just really sophisticated ways to procrastinate. They keep us from the one thing that gives us real answers, actually doing something. So, if all that planning is the trap, what's the escape route? It's a really simple but incredibly powerful principle: clarity through execution. And this quote just nails it. Clarity comes from practicing the skills that matter, not guessing about them. It's all about getting your hands dirty and letting the work itself be your teacher. Let's just boil it down to its simplest form. You can't think your way into being a great writer, or a really confident speaker, or an effective founder. You can only discover your unique path, your own strengths, through the actual act of doing the thing. Okay, so that's the big principle. But how do you actually apply it without just feeling totally overwhelmed? Well, this is where something called small version practice comes into play. The source material for this tells this great little story about a founder who was just completely stuck. Instead of trying to create some huge, complex plan, they just started practicing tiny, bite-sized versions of the skills they thought they might need. And that is the key to unlocking momentum. The key is to make these reps so ridiculously small that they're impossible to say no to. So you're not writing a blog post, you're just writing one short message. You're not recording a perfect video, you're just recording a quick idea on your phone. These are super low-stakes actions designed for one thing, and one thing only: learning. And this is why it's so incredibly powerful. Every single tiny rep you do is a data point. It's immediate, real-world feedback. You instantly learn what feels natural and what feels, kind of forced. You stop guessing about which direction to go, and you start building it based on actual, tangible experience. So what we're really talking about here isn't just a tip or some little trick. It is a completely new operating system for how you approach your work. It's about making the shift from just guessing to actually knowing. If there's one thing you take away today, let it be this: clarity isn't some treasure you just stumble upon after a long quest of research. It's a structure. You build it, brick by brick, with every small, imperfect action you take. You have to earn it. And just think about how much more efficient this is. I mean, one 5-minute practice session, one single real-world rep, can teach you more about your own abilities and what the market actually wants than 5 hours of reading articles. The return on your time and energy is just massive. Ultimately, this is all about learning to trust a different part of yourself. Not just your analytical brain that wants to plan everything, but your direct experience. Let the feedback you get from your own actions be your North Star. Let it be your guide through all the uncertainty. So let's make this real, right now. Forget about the grand plan for just a minute. What is one tiny, ridiculously small version of a skill that you can practice today? Like right after this is over. What's your first rep going to be?
Because once you start practicing, you'll start to see where you need to focus. And if you're ready to turn those small reps into a really clear, methodical process for identifying the skills that are going to drive real results, go ahead and check out the link. Thanks for tuning in.